How to handle a session with covert hypnosis without losing the attention of the client and while maintaining their focus the whole time. Many clients lose their focus during the session and don't get to the final outcome, to the moment where their mind finally changes in powerful ways. In this video you will learn how to trigger that from their mind and how to make sure the big hypnotic change or the big change you induce in them hypnotically will last and will flourish even after the session is over. It is a structure in 5 steps I am proposing here that you can use. You can adapt it if you want. I am pretty sure this will be of massive help whenever you want to hypnotize people in your sessions and help them see a better future. The first step is to elaborate on information gathering, like they do in the investigations on the FBI, for example. I've been watching too much TV shows lately, when they basically want to figure out the past, the present and the future. So you want to elaborate with your client in the beginning of the session what has been his past or her past so far, what is happening right now in their current life, and what will happen eventually in the future. It is not yet on the outcome phase, although you can talk about this right off the bat, but it is more like how do you envision your future, Robert, as of right now. If I was to ask you right here, what is going to be the next 6 months of your life, or the next 12 months of your life, or the next 2 to 5 years of your life? Basically, what do you think is going to happen from right here? It is information gathering. You want to elaborate just from that alone, past, present, future. What exactly where exactly could there be a problem? Which will lead to step number 2 of this structure you can keep in your mind. Step number 2 is to elicit blockages, limitations, all the things that are preventing them from changing in the best way possible. So anything like fears, wounds, deep emotions, if they have something deep that has been blocked for many years, for example, feelings, broken relationships. That may be a big one that people don't think enough about. Quite often people focus on, yeah, I want more money, I want this success in my life and this and that. In the end, when you really clarify with 95% of people, what will you do then? It will always come down to time with your loved ones, raising the family you want to, helping your children. It is always coming down to loved ones, you know, whatever people want to accomplish, it will be, yeah, I can finally be with my friends, or more time with my family, or find the partner of my dreams. It's always coming down to those. So elaborating on which broken relationship may there be in the past somewhere that may still be lying in their head emotionally. They may be preventing themselves from moving forward because of some broken thing in the past, or any kind of self-esteem issues like I don't deserve that, I am not good enough for this. This is the phase of eliciting blockages, eliciting all those dirty the bag of dirt, basically the bag of trash, all the things that have been preventing them so far from changing in the way they would have wanted. And you can just ask them polite questions about it. What do you think is holding you back right now? If you had to put a word on the main thing that limits you right now in your life, what would you say? You know, simple things like that, just to help them clarify, because when people are stuck in their limiting beliefs and in their defense mechanisms, they may have trouble to actually name the main thing they would like to change, to put a name on what they don't like anymore. So helping them sorting that out, and at the same time it is going to build a massive rapport and massive trust with their unconscious mind. And then we can go into step number 3, which is to set a motivating and compelling enough outcome. As I have said many times already, so many people have a broad, vague, short, small, tiny, unclear idea of what they want. I want to feel better. I want this negative person to be out of my life. I want a better car. I want to get respect. Yeah, okay, respect. Like, how do you measure respect? Who is going to respect you? And do you care about everybody's respect? If not, who do you care about the most and why? What happened with those people? Respect, how do you know there is respect? How do you know that someone is being respected and someone who is not being respected? You know, people don't really clarify all those things. They just have broad ideas based on what they saw on TV shows, what they saw on movies, what they read on magazines, what they saw one friend of them having, and just based on comparison, oh, this dude looks happy, I want to be like him. But in the end, they didn't really clarify why for them specifically, what is it going to help in their life. So you can help them elaborate. What else will change? Let's say you do succeed with your things you want to accomplish. Then what is the typical day scenario? And many times in sessions I had clients like this when I was at this phase of trying to make them clarify, yeah, but you want to feel better, but then what will happen exactly? What is your typical day setup once you feel better, like you say? And she said, for example, I don't know, I wake up, I have my coffee, and I talk with my friends, and I'm like, that's fucking boring. Like, this is really the only thing you have in mind for where you want to go. No wonder you'd keep lying, being stuck on problems, because your mind needs problems to solve. If you don't have anything to solve, then you will just invent problem internally. That's what everybody's brain does, by the way. It's not just broken or fucked up people. It's really everyone who's like that. You need compelling challenges, compelling outcomes. Otherwise, your mind will just drift inward and invent problems just to get busy with something. So when people want to change, they need a compelling vision for what they will do in the future. And most people don't have any kind of clear idea of that. Then step number 4, which is where we are going to get into the actual change process, whatever you want to use, sleight of mouth, reframing, a hypnotic induction, and some age regression to solve deep wounds from their past, whatever you want to help them with. It is going to be the moment to help them go from the limitation to the solution, to the outcome, or to an action that is more likely to lead toward their outcome. Basically, you can never really transform their life just in a therapy session, because what will change their life eventually, if it does, is that the fact that they take action on their own. And the only thing you can really act upon as the coach or the therapist with them is to prepare their mind to be courageous enough to take the one action that is going to make them go one step further toward their outcome. That is the only thing you can really help them act upon. You can't change their entire life just like that, and that would be kind of a fake promise and a kind of scammy promise if you were pretending you can, but you can always help them go to the first action. The first action they need to take that is in front of them, so not something that can only happen 10 years in the future. Right now, there is one thing they can do that they don't, otherwise they wouldn't be coming to you. One thing they could do that they are not doing, and this is the one thing you want to help them gather up resources to do. So with that intent in mind, you can simply turn the conversation, fish for limiting beliefs, and see if you can hypnotically, conversationally help their mind to figure out a way to gather up the courage to actually do this one thing they don't allow themselves to do, or don't feel competent enough, or don't feel like they deserve to actually do this. And you can use phrases or frames of mind like, if you were somebody else. That is one I like using with NLP modeling, you know. If you were somebody who never had this problem, or even better, if you were somebody right now who has already overcome this problem. If you are somebody who has overcome this problem 5 years ago, I'm pretty sure some other people came through the same thing you're going through right now, and I'm pretty sure some of those people at least have found a way to overcome that. I cannot tell what the way is, because maybe I didn't go through this myself, what you're going through. For example, if you smoke cigarettes, I was never a smoker, so I cannot really promise anything. However, I'm pretty sure some people in the world have successfully overcome their cigarette addiction. In this case, if you were somebody who has been able to change that 5 years ago already, what would you look like? And then what can you see from the backward? Can you see what happened? Can you see step by step what happened that led you to actually stop? If you use language patterns like that at a moment where you have already built massive rapport with the person and they already trust you, this phrase will hit their unconscious, basically. Or phrases like, if this was gone by tomorrow. Going back to playing with time frames, which I am fond of. I really love using that. I think it is pretty funny. Time frame, so if this was gone by tomorrow. We just do a small future pacing. Tomorrow, this is a new day. Tomorrow it is Tuesday or whatever. If by tomorrow this thing you complain about, this thing that is really putting you in pain, if this thing was gone by tomorrow, then what would happen? How would you feel? Would you feel differently? How? Who else would be affected? Would you notice any changes in your behaviors, in the way you communicate, in the way people talk to you or talk about you? And help the client elaborate on those things. And the last one, to go even further, could be 10 years, like 10 years after this has changed, what will you look like? Will you have changed your job? Will you have changed the way the relationships around you? Will you have changed the way you think about yourself? What will have changed that is really important, that really matters 10 years after you have changed this? So playing with time frames and playing with perceptual positions are things that really help reframing the problem of the person and reframing their potential assumption that they're stuck, nothing will ever change. You are helping them to overcome those dumb limitations that nothing can ever change. Of course, things can change. And the last one, step number 5, is going to be about dealing with objections, secondary objections or last-minute objections. When you have made somebody change a deep belief or a deep limitation, it may happen that some part of them tries to hold back, tries to maintain the way they were. Quite often the mind likes what is familiar, familiarity, so many people are more scared of getting out of familiarity than staying where they are. At least when it is a familiar situation, they may not even want to change. Or maybe they are fed up about this situation, but some part of mind, some part of their head, of their unconscious mind actually liked, enjoyed maybe the security of that phase of their life, maybe the comfort, maybe the attention. Some people who used to be overweight, may have trouble to not be overweight anymore, even with the best diet and everything, with the right fitness coach, everything. They may never get out of this because the fact of being overweight was maybe getting them attention or preventing them from getting attention. If it is a woman, for example, who has been abused in her childhood, maybe the fact of being overweight is a protection for her to not have guys looking at her too much. And those things are pretty tough to figure out by yourself. If you don't have a competent therapist with you guiding you in the process, those deep things, they may be really tough to figure out. So even once you have made your client change completely, maybe some part of them will still try to, this crab mentality when crabs walk side by side. When one of them starts getting on the other side, the other ones take the pinch and come back here. This is the crab mentality. And this is what happens in many people's minds. They just kind of stay stuck because a part of them is resistant to the change. It's not their whole identity. It's not like they don't want. It's just that some part of them is scared, maybe doesn't know what's going to happen next. So they may try to be pulled back to their old version. In this case, your goal is to help them fortify a more motivating, stimulating, eloquent version of their future, even without this problem that used to be useful in some way. Can you create a more compelling vision of what their life is going to be, how their life can be even better without this limitation? And on this one, from experience, I would say storytelling was my main tool here. Whenever somebody was still like between, yes, no, using a story was like the final hit. I guess it is probably the most powerful hypnotic tool you can have at your disposal, hypnotic storytelling. I have many courses on that and also other videos. I guess it is the best way because you are completely bypassing every limitation, since when people hear you starting a story, they are only focused on the end. Where are you going with this story? And they are not focused on the middle. So anything you say in the middle of the story will go unconscious without any resistance. And therefore, using a story, from my experience again, was the best asset I ever had when people were still having some bits of last resistance. And actually, this is a good transition into the little 5-day challenge I have just launched that you can find in the description down below. It is 5 days, 1 by 1, 1 mission per day, where you are going to develop your skills with covert hypnosis by taking it one piece at a time, because I know many of you guys have trouble with that, to actually organize your thoughts and all your readings and discoveries into, okay, yeah, but what should I do now? What should I focus on? Specifically, you know, storytelling, should I focus on that? If yes, how? And actually the third day of those 5 is about hypnotic storytelling, a very simple structure in 4 or 5 steps that you can apply for your stories whenever you want to tell compelling stories and whenever you want to lead other people's minds into new realities, unconsciously obviously, and then in their physical real world. You can have all of those, and those 5 days are structured so that you have one simple thing to do every day to improve your skills, and at the end of the 5 days you will have probably accomplished something you didn't think you could accomplish. Therefore, your self-confidence will grow, and with more confidence you dare using better strategies and more effective skills and tools from the world of covert hypnosis. That is what will make your skills improve drastically down the road. The fact of challenging yourself, hence 5-day challenge, challenging yourself and getting into new levels and new situations you didn't go into yet, this is what will make you evolve drastically. It is in the description on the first link, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Thank you for listening.